Hello, everybody. Welcome to our first experiment based on the anime Dr. Stone. And today we're talking about how we made soap from seashells.
Yes, and I'm Meg.
And I'm Megan.
Yes, and this is making soap using seashells, and this is from Dr. Stone, episode 2.
King of the Stone World.
Yeah. And they in this episode they were making soap obviously to prevent them from getting sick. And to do this, they they don't really say explicitly. Basically, they crushed seashells to turn it into a fine powder, and that got them like calcium carbonate, I believe.
Yep.
And then they collected seaweed, and I don't say this in the episode, I think, but they were trying to get sodium carbonate, and to do that you have to burn the seaweed to get that. So they would have burned it, and then they mixed together some water with the calcium carbonate to get slaked lime, and then they mixed the calcium carbonate, sodium carbonate together to make the soap.
Yeah.
And
And we tried to do that too, but with some exceptions.
yes, yes. So to the seashells, we did the same thing. We tried to.
Oh,
Um,
tried being the
yeah,
operative word.
that was well, let's start with that part.
Oh, that was agony.
Yeah, so we bought real seashells, and we'll say Megan tried to crush them first, and you're like, it's not.
It's not okay. God knew what he was doing when he designed sea creatures. No one's getting into those.
Mm-mm, no. And so then we looked up a way to like soften them, and you can do that by dissolving them in vinegar. So we did that, and I let mine sit in vinegar for 3 days. Actually, it was like 4 or 5 days, actually. Never mind, I
I
forgot
should have
about
left
them.
mine in longer. I really should have.
Yeah. And then after that we took them out and crushed them. And seriously, well, we have pictures that I assume will be going across the screen while we're talking about this. Um, it was not easy. So what I ended up doing, I first tried to like take a hammer to it, but it was kind of hard because I live on the second floor of an apartment building, so you can't really like be hammering the floor. Um, and honestly, it wasn't working anyway. Like they would not crush. So then what I did, I used a wrench and literally like put each seashell in between and like squeeze it as hard as I could and like broke them up that way. And that's all that I could get to work. Like I just like kept breaking them up again and again until they were in a fine powder, and then I like put them through I had like a fine mesh strainer, and I put them through that to get powder. And seriously, like the number I probably had like a half cup of seashells. And I ended up with like not even 2 tablespoons of the powder. Like I couldn't get
I
them
gave up
crushed.
too, yeah.
Yeah, it was
Uh,
too much.
I did much of the same. I tried with the hammer first, and that helped. It broke them up into smaller bits. Almost took out my eye, so I put on sunglasses to keep the shards from flying at me. And then once I got them crushed up enough, I don't have a mortar and pestle, so I got a bowl out and my screwdriver, and I used the opposite end of the screwdriver handle and ground them in the bowl, which kind of worked. And I got a little bit of powder, but again, not as much as I really needed. I ended up compensating with the sodium carbonate. And yeah, I kind of made a mess. My roommates weren't home, but I made a mess in the kitchen, tried to clean it up, put everything in the dishwasher that I'd used, kitchen utensil wise, And the very same night I ate ice cream out of the bowl I crushed the seashells.
Oh no, that's a bad decision.
There may have been a little bit of residue at the bottom that I didn't notice till I'd eaten the whole thing.
Yeah, because I put mine. Luckily, you'd done everything before I started, and so I put them in the dishes that I'd used in the dishwasher. And then when I took them out, I noticed there was actually still like a fine layer of dust on them. So then I hand washed them, and so I think they're good now. But so I did not eat any seashells.
Let me just say, that was such a crumb move of me.
Oh, yes, it was. And then I'm
That's
sitting here
bad.
laughing.
This ice cream is crunchy.
Yeah, not great. Okay, and then so that was like totally impossible. I mean, we managed to get something, but it was very difficult. Um, and then the second part, the sodium carbonate, we weren't gonna burn seaweed. That
No.
no. So what we actually did was we took baking soda, which is sodium bicarbonate, and you can bake it to get sodium carbonate. So I baked mine. I think it was like it said to do 200 degrees for an hour.
Yep.
Um,
I still have a lot left. I made way too much. And
oh no.
again, I did it when my roommates weren't home, but I looked at my I looked at my pan with white powder piled on top. And I thought, well, that's not suspicious at all.
Nope, it's not. So anyway, that part is super easy. Just bake it off. It's not like an exact science. Like what after I'd done it, I realized what like I just don't have the tools to do it. Is what you probably should do is like weigh it out and then bake it and then weigh it again because you can like
Yes, weighing my white powder.
yes, but the like based on the grams you can figure out if it's
Right.
actually become
Yeah,
sodium carbonate.
I
But
just messed with like different combinations because you mix the seashell powder with water, um and then you put in the sodium carbonate and then you add some sort of oil to bind it together.
mhm.
And I used a bottle of essential oil that I had and I dumped way too much into it. So my soap was being held together by the oil, but then it was too watery. So then I put more sodium carbonate in it, and I didn't have enough of the seashells, so the soap ended up being kind of brittle and chalky. Honestly, the outside was chalky, but the inside, like when I put water in it, it kind of reminded me of moon sand a little.
Mm. Yeah, that's kind of what it looked like. Um, yeah, and I kind of did. I mean, you're supposed to do like equal amounts of the seashell powder and the sodium carbonate, so I tried to do that. I'm sure I got a little bit more of the sodium carbonate just because there wasn't a lot of the seashells.
Yeah.
And then I had added a little bit of vegetable oil, and then I did also use essential oil, but I added like 4 drops because
Yes.
that stuff's super strong. And I
Mm-hmm.
mixed it all together, and then you like let it dry. I let mine
Yeah.
dry for like I think it was like 5 days before I used it.
And I
Um,
used a flour candy mold I had gotten from the
mhm.
craft store.
Yeah, I have this awesome DNA cookie cutter and I was gonna use that, but then I did not have enough of the soap. So I like fashioned a flask shaped um mold and put it in that. Yeah, we tried to use it.
The video speaks for itself.
Yes. Falling apart. Look at that.
Ugh. Ow. That hurt. It feels like soap though. I mean, apart from the shards that just cut me. It's all going down the drain. Like Min said. That exfoliated everything.
Yes, it did not. Honestly, like the side that wasn't like that looked like smooth, like that actually like felt like soap. And like I was like, okay, I think it like kind of worked, but then the other
Mm-hmm.
side that was just like crumbled. And I'm fine now, but I definitely like scratched my hand from using that. It's like a basically like a sugar scrub just 'cause like the seashells like they still
They
needed to
hurt.
be in a finer powder than they already were.
Yeah, the bigger chunk of
So
seashells that I couldn't grind up had sunk to the bottom. So once I got to the top, because
uh,
the bar of soap basically crumbled instantly when I tried to use it.
mhm.
So the top crumbled in my hand, and that's when like the harder seashells got me.
Mm. Yeah. So now did it work? No.
No.
It it was like half a success. I
I
think
could feel I could feel it on my fingers. It did feel kind of like soap minus the lather. So
yeah.
yes, it could clean your hands, but it didn't hold together well enough to actually be of use practically.
Yeah.
And I don't think I would use this method again to make soap. There are other easier ways with other materials
Mhm.
available to us to do it. In the stone world, though, this might be the best you can do.
Yeah.
And if we had somebody like Taiju with this, he could crush the seashells for us with his strength. But
Seriously though, like
uh,
it's still like it was very difficult. Like I think the advantage that they have is that like we were like trying not to break our tools and trying not to like make an excessive amount of noise where like they didn't have to worry about that. So
right,
breaking them was probably a little bit easier, but still this would have been very difficult to do in the stone world.
yep.
And I totally get why Senku did not even attempt it till Taiju was there, because he would never been able to do it. Um, yeah. And I was gonna say one other thing. Oh yeah, the soap that they make, it's not supposed to lather. So just because it doesn't lather doesn't mean it's not cleaning. Although I wish we had like, the things that you can like do like the UV like or like to
Yeah, to
see
see if
like
the
the
germs are there.
yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
but we don't have that, so don't actually
Yeah.
know how clean our hands got. All I know is that my hands got scratched up. It was fun to try, but would not do again.
Okay, so on our feasibility scale, is this a thing you can actually make? I would say either 3 or 4 out of 5 because it does work. It's just
Mm-hmm.
hard to make.
Yeah.
So maybe a 3.
Yeah, I might go lower than that. I would
Okay,
probably say like a 2 or a 2.5 just because
let's
it's
go with 2.5.
okay, just because like crushing the seashells, like if you're not Taiju, you're not getting them crushed. And most people are not Taiju. So it's just like it would be very difficult.
Yes.
And then practicality.
I feel like that would be, I mean, if you can make it, it's a really good thing to have around. It's not just like it's like a necessity you don't think about until Senku says like, "Oh yeah, we need to make sure we don't get sick." And then I
Mm-hmm.
started thinking about like, "Oh yes, they're going to the bathroom out in the woods and they need something to clean their hands off with. And they're touching
Yeah.
food and they have to like raw meat, they'll have to clean their hands too." So I'd say like this is one of the most practical things that they could have reinvented.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I would say 5 out of 5
Yep.
practicality.
Yep.
Very useful. Oh, I feel like all of the things that they make, except for the Senku Cola, they're all gonna be 5 out of 5s.
Yeah,
I like there's something I
for
feel like there's
everyday
like
life. It's for everyday life though.
yeah,
Like the other inventions are for like specific missions.
true. True. Okay. Well, that was our first experiment. We will have another one sometime next month.
Yep, thanks for watching.
All right, bye.
Bye.